Today, we do something we're not used to do.
It's a format which we've never tried before, but this is more of a recap of the 2 years on the Panamerican with our Defender Albatross.
So for those who didn't follow the adventures the past 2 years, we are Nick and Mathilde. We are driving our Land Rover Defender around the world. The goal is
to do all 7 continents. So there's about 88 countries and we wanted to do it in 3 years. I think it might be more. And so far we are with 4 continents done and we're starting the 5th in just 4 weeks.
Over the past 2 years, we have traveled through Europe, North America, Central America, South America, and Antarctica. Our home, our Land Rover Defender, is now on a boat to Australia. And before meeting it there and continuing our world tour journey down under, we worked on this special video series. 2 years of anecdotes, images, in 3 parts, narrating the best, the worst, the curious, the fantastic, the learnings, the headaches, and the beauty of every single moment of 2 years on the road. Part 1. The preparation in North America.
we decided to leave our jobs. We were at the time working between Paris and Brussels in Europe. We sold everything we had. We put everything that was left in the Defender and we left.
Departure has started and we're on the road.
It's very weird.
And it's very weird to say that the next 3 years are in that direction and in 3 years we'll come back this direction.
Let's talk about the vehicle. So we have a Land Rover Defender from 2012. It's a 2.2 Puma 110. We decided to leave with a vehicle because we wanted to live in the car, spend less money for hotels so that we could be completely autonomous. We chose a 4x4 because I wanted to be able to go on tracks, off-road, be able to go off the beaten path and just be able to sleep anywhere we wanted without having to worry. There's a few choices. There was the Troopy from Toyota or Defender from Land Rover. In Europe, getting a Toyota 4x4 is very hard, a lot of fees on penalty and pollution, so we ended up making the easy decision of going with a Defender. If you look at the Defender, it has a pop top, and the reason being is that we wanted to live inside the car and be able to stand inside. It also had a security question that Mathilde wanted to be able to be safe and jump from the bed to the driver's seat if anything happened.
That was really important for me.
Yeah.
Like to be sleeping in one cell.
Another important factor was water. So we calculated that we needed more or less around 70 liters of water for shower, cleaning, dishes and cooking. And about another 50 liters of water of drinking to last at least 7 to 10 days. For diesel, we calculated around 1,000 kilometers. So that would be around 115 liters. We needed a few things that would make us home comfortable, so that meant we wanted a shower. It meant we wanted a diesel heater so that we could still survive in cold places without worrying. We wanted to be able to cook and we didn't want to cook all in one pan, so we got a double stove.
The whole electricity supply system had to be redone. We had to increase battery capacity, we had to increase solar panel capacity. Also, we were a bit picky, so we were looking for something thin, durable. We got quite lucky at that point of the preparation. We were still in Belgium and got in contact with this company called Sunwear. It's a German company producing solar panels. And they were interested in the project. They provided us with some of their super thin solar panel that they also put on sailing boats. So it's super durable, can sustain bad, cold and warm weather, which we were anticipating to face. And then Nick worked with them to redo all of the electricity supply of the car. The result was really cool. We had only one solar panel when we left, but at some point we added the Starlink, and so we added a second one, and that worked quite well.
But there's a full car tour that you can watch on our YouTube video. There's actually 2. So if you want all the details of all the equipment and gear and installation, you can go check that video out. We had all this gear and equipment we wanted, but then we had to make sure it's what works. We did a 2-month trip around Scandinavia, going all the way to the top of the North Cape, and tested a lot of the gear. It was an incredible trip for us. All 4 countries we crossed, so Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland, were all incredible and all very different.
Oh God.
When we came back from that, we removed some gear, we added other gear.
Iceland, Scandinavia were great grounds to test resistance to cold. For 2 weeks it's not a problem if you don't have a hot shower or don't have a heater, but over 2 months you feel like you're getting tired, you want to go to a hotel, you want to go to a camping, and for us the key here was we want to be fully comfortable.
Yeah, it had to feel like a home, everything had to be easy and accessible. We included a hot shower and shipped it to Canada.
And that's how it started. From the beginning with Nick, what we really wanted was to go far from home and discover new places. We shipped the car to Canada, and that really launched us into the adventure.
It felt real.
It felt so real.
So far.
How happy are you?
Super happy. Oh my gosh, the car
Happy.
is in great condition, super clean. The chain is still at the back. There's no bumps, no nothing. The car is good. And now we'll just get to continue on the trip.
So we arrived beginning of July, full on summer in Halifax, Canada, on the east coast of the country. And we were just so excited. We packed up the car, we were talking with everyone we meet, and if anyone has been to Canada or if you're Canadian, you know that Canadians love talking. First thing that shocked us in Canada is the scale. Our first idea was to go to the north of Nova Scotia. We thought it was 2 hours drive. We set up the GPS and we see 9 hours. We then zoomed out, saw the entire map of Canada, and we thought, okay, that's what it's going to be in the Americas. So we took off and started discovering Canada.
One memory that we have really strong is when we were going towards Alaska, so still in British Columbia or Yukon area, and then this bear came out and he would start running in the water trying to, hit the salmons, and then we could hear it literally picking it up and going, and you could hear all the, all the fibers and all the meat in the salmon just cracking.
God, he's just ripping its body apart.
And that was, I've never seen that before, and you don't have that in Europe, just like that. In Canada, that was just insane.
And then we saw one eating berries in the Rockies. I think we got the fullest of our Canadian experience with the animals and with the scale of the landscape.
Chattanooga, boy, had $1 and a dime. Headed out for Nashville on the Hard Rock Line. I'm working on that old steamboat and learned to rob and steal. When my feet had touched dry land, how happy I did feel. Saving every penny money for to make up through the fall. Working for that dollar, but it never adds up at all. Coming around the river.
Canada was really a warm-up, still with cool discoveries and mainly awesome people. We got hosted by really nice people, we got a lot of help on the road, and we got to test that kindness to its limits because Canada is also the first small mechanical challenge we got.
Allez, ça va partir!
Yeah, we first had the starter braking on us. So for almost a week, we would always park on top of a hill or next to the road, because if it wasn't on a jump start location, then we wouldn't be able to go. And people would be very nice because we would be on the side of the road. Then we'd always make sure there was people around, and then we'd go to them and be like, hey, can you help us push?
At the end of the week, it was almost the new normal to push the car, to start it, to find people, and everyone was so happy.
Yeah.
We got the starter repaired in Montreal, and when we started the car the first time without pushing it, we were like, huh, that's how it works? The next step in our adventure was to drive all the way to Prudhoe Bay, which is in the Arctic Circle. We went with two other defenders. One was Tom from New Zealand and his defender Jerry, and the second was Eva, her dog Vilk, and their defender Odyssey. It was, I think, for us, our first feel of like a real adventurous overland experience, because we were on more remote roads and every night we were doing a campfire, we were cooking together, fishing. You were fishing with Tom sometime in the evening. It was the beginning of fall, we could feel that the weather was getting colder, that the colors were changing around us. One night we were blessed with northern lights.
That was crazy nice.
It was crazy.
Yeah, Mathilde was just going to the bathroom and she looks up and she's like, what is that? And it was just like a faint color of light gray, colors kind of dancing. And then she comes back to us, which we were all next to the fire, and she was like, guys, I think there's a northern light. We look up and all of a sudden it became bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it became really green, and then it started really dancing. That was crazy. An incredible moment that none of us, I think, would forget.
Yeah, and we were not really expecting it either.
No, we were like, nobody sees northern lights. It's so hard. You have to be so lucky.
It was amazing, really.
Yeah.
And then Tom went on the Canadian side all the way up north, and Eva and us, we crossed into Alaska on the last day. The border crossing we used was open. It closed for the entire winter, and we literally crossed at 3 p.m. and I think the border crossing was like closing at 5 p.m. So we were really the last people showing up. And when we entered into Alaska, it was stupidly rainy and very cold, but we were so happy with Eva, Nick, and I. And and from there, the idea was to take that last stretch of road through the Arctic Circle all the way to Prudhoe Bay, and that was quite the adventure. For the second time in 6 months, we crossed the Arctic Circle. So now we're here in Canada. And the first time was all the way there in Norway. Welcome to the Arctic Circle again. going to put our sticker on the wall.
All right.
Go for it. Go for it.
And when we reached the top of the Alaskan road at Prudhoe Bay, it was time to go all the way south. So now we were really at the top of the Panamerican, all the way in Alaska. And the idea was to get all the way down to Ushuaia, which is the most bottom point. So as we went down from Alaska, we crossed back into Canada and through the islands of Vancouver Island and then down to mainland USA. When we got into mainland USA, it was autumn. It was starting to get pretty cold. We loved Alvord Desert, Mount Rainier and Mount Hood. We decided not to go along the coast because we had already done that 8 years ago, but we decided to do the Midwest. Then after Alvord Desert, we went to Wyoming. We drove around there. We went to Yellowstone National Park, saw the huge bisons, and that's when the first mechanical challenge happened. So when we were in Washington, a Defender shop said, no, you can put any oils in there, don't worry about it, this is what we saw in the US. He gave us the wrong viscosity of oil through the Yellowstone National Park. We see this huge white smoke come out of the exhaust, we see the engine loses power, we stop, literally right there and then on the middle of the road. Technically the park was empty because it was about to close 3 days later. We look into the engine bay and there's all this oil just seeping out straight onto the floor. And then we pulled the oil gauge and obviously it wasn't even on the stick anymore. We had a liter as backup. I put the whole thing, put the stick in, nothing. So we had lost a lot. We decided the only way was to keep moving forward very slowly till the next little, I would say, visitor center in the park.
Nick,
Yeah, any verdict?
doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's
was
coming through. Yeah.
full of oil in there.
Okay, good. At least we know where it is.
Yeah.
Found Tom again, our friend from New Zealand. He offered to pull us. Literally 5 minutes later, the National Park guards came and said, you can't be doing that. You have to get a towing vehicle to do that. And it's a precise one from the park. So double the cost. And they drop you just outside the park. Midnight, it's freezing. Our car doesn't work. We can't turn on the diesel heater. So we're freezing. Tom, the next morning, very early, puts us on his cables and pulls us all the way to the next town.
Keep going a little bit more, a little bit more. All right.
Ooh,
That was smooth.
that was
And we arrived in this famous town called Jackson Hole. To us, it's famous because we spent a week there, freezing in a blizzard, full of snow, no heater, sleeping in the car while we were getting parts shipped from Europe to the USA.
when we were doing the diagnostic on the car and we had ice on the inside of the car, it's probably the most miserable we've been.
This is where this trip becomes so incredible and the memories become unforgettable, is Tom said, hey guys, I've got a car, it works, while you're waiting, let's go on a road trip together.
Another time for us, like, wow, we've been the most miserable and then we get the funnest adventure coming out of it. The week with Tom traveling was just so fun.
It was a 3-person road trip in a 1-person Defender. We did about how many kilometers?
I don't know, but we did 4 states.
4 states in like a week. And we just drove, visited, and we went to Badland National Parks, which was really, really nice.
So beautiful.
So good. And we were literally sleeping 2 in the car, 1 in the tent outside, and when it was just way too cold, we would sleep all in the car, so you could imagine how tight we were. And that's what really bonded us to Tom, and since then, it's just been an incredible friendship, and so that's something we'll never forget. It was an incredible story. We then came back to Albatross, the car worked, and we spent then 3 more weeks with Tom driving through the US.
We can say whatever we want on the USA, but it's unbeatable on some of the landscape. And Utah is amazing.
We spent a lot of time, almost a month there.
Yeah.
And there's still so much to explore. It's actually probably our favorite state so far.
The White Rim Trail that we did with Tom again, we started, it was snowing and muddy. We saw like Tom's car almost falling. And
It did fall in the ditch.
It did, yeah, it did fall in the ditch.
Looks like Tom slipped in the ditch. Oh man, no, I hope he's all right.
Anyway, over the radio, he says he was all right. Hope we can pull him out, though.
The weather opened the next morning, and we did 3 days in the canyons. And for me, it's probably one of the most beautiful things I've seen in my life, and I want to go back one day. People see the desert and the red colors and they think that you're really warm there, but it's really high in elevation, and in the winter it's actually freezing. After months and a half in those situations, like really cold, even if the landscapes were absolutely amazing, we said that's it, we need to go south.
We want t-shirts, sun, flip-flops, sand.
Yeah.
We had to change.
And then we headed to
Baja California, which we had a lot of expectations for, and they were met. This place is awesome.
This place is awesome.
Yeah.
That's it. We're in Mexico. We got the visa for us both and the TIP, the temporary import permit.
Coming to Mexico, a lot of people were saying, okay, now you guys are gonna have to be careful, and there's always the judgments you see on TVs. We got at the border, totally fine. Then we drove to Tijuana. Everyone was saying, if you go to Mexico, don't go to Tijuana. We went straight into Tijuana. We actually had to go there for mechanical fixing with the best mechanic we've ever had so far, called Ricardo. So if you ever need a Defender mechanic, let us know. The best one ever is there.
Yeah, and go to Tijuana for your Defender mechanic.
Definitely. He brought us out, the mechanic, and he brought us to different places through town, and it felt awesome. We're like, okay, Mexico is not as bad as what people say, and the people are not scary, and we actually had 0 problems throughout all of Mexico, not even one. After the cars were fixed, we met up with Ava again and American travelers Cody and Olivia, and we decided that we would share 2 weeks on the road until South Baja. And we went from beach to beach, off-road to off-road, east and west of the peninsula, zigzagging through everything. We spent a really good time, made new friends with the Americans as well. And one of my favorite things, best memories of Baja, was being able to park all 4 wheels on the sand, jump out the car into the sand, swimming to the water, especially in South Baja, the water is much warmer, and being able to see the whales. We were seeing whales from far away. We even sent the drone to go find them. And then just being able to surf, that was awesome, and the swimming in such clear water.
We got to do snorkeling, we swam with whale sharks.
True.
It really felt like some sort of holidays after the cold of the Midwest in the US. Baja was like fun drives in the desert, chill campsite at the beach. We were cooking pizza for your birthday. It was beginning of December, beautiful weather. We crossed to mainland Mexico. I don't know if we can call that, but like outside of the Baja Peninsula.
It was right away a feeling of cultural difference. Everything was much cheaper. The culture was very different. The roads were different. The chaos was different. The people looked different.
The language.
The language.
So excited to speak Spanish again. But eventually we were met with Nicola's family who came for Christmas there. And we did some of the historic city in Oaxaca, in Chiapas, beautiful towns, paved streets, old buildings. The food is delicious. What's your favorite Mexican food?
Fish tacos. What did you like the most?
The food? Fish tacos. Like
Nice. It's so good.
And we ate for nothing. I remember when we drove from Baja California to Mexico City to see a family, for like the equivalent of $2 on the side of the road, we had too much to eat.
Yeah, they had barbecues on the side of the road. It was smoking everywhere. It was so good. We wanted to do one last thing that someone had told us. They said, hey, do you like snakes? We said, not really, but what's the plan? And they said, you can go to this bat cave, which is technically a snake's cave as well. We went into this cave around 6 p.m. when the bats start activating themselves and swarming out the cave. I have snakes literally probably this thick, so not very thick, just hanging down the walls of the cave and literally hanging on top of us. And mouth open, waiting for a bat to come by, and
that's your off the beaten track adventure. Yeah, you put every like nightmare component for many people, and you put them all in the same cave during the night. So
yeah, no spiders too, but we didn't see them. But surely,
I'm happy I didn't see the spiders.
Yeah. We're down towards Yucatan, so almost at the end of Mexico, and we go in the cenote, and there it's an attraction. Tons of people go swim and check them out. We go in there, and while I swim, frog style, my left leg freezes and kind of locks, and my meniscus actually tears. And so I can swim out the water, I don't feel pain, but I can't put my foot down because I get a huge pain shock. And then literally that's where the drama starts in Mexico. It's the first health issue. We go to the hospital and they say, you're going to need surgery, we need to fix your meniscus, so we need to fix it now. So the whole idea was, what are we doing? Do we leave the car in Mexico? Do we fly back to Europe?
And money, you know, like for those surgeries, they cost a lot of money, so the insurance has to come in. Can we finance it in Mexico? Will they force us to come to France? We were like 7 months into our trip in the Americas.
Yeah.
And basically we were scared that we would be forced to go home after that.
And just there, stuck in Cancun, Mexico, our world tour took a hit we had not expected. But we do not give up that easily. If you enjoyed the journey through North America, explore further with us and subscribe to the channel. Next, on our serie 2 years on the road, we will go to Central America, land of volcanoes, beautiful coastlines, mega diverse flora and fauna. That is coming up next week in part 2.
Demasiado rápido para mí, siempre tan fuerte, mi necesidad por ti, la primera